Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys are having a fantastic morning. This is your host, Ash, and welcome to the Ash Show. So, today I'm bringing a new series here, which is basically the news daily roundup. So, what we're going to do every day is I'm going to collect the best pieces of news from yesterday after market close all the way up to before the market opens. We're going to go through them and we're going to find the best plays and the most relevant news to us every day. Now, I also do a 2K to 100K challenge. I'm doing this every day. I live stream right at the market open. So if you want to see me take the plays that we discuss in the news today, please subscribe to the channel and make sure you're around there at the market open, or you can just turn on your notifications to see how we actually take these plays, our exits, our entries, and all that good stuff, right? So without further ado, let's jump in and see what the market has for us today. So first piece of news here is that we have Michael Burry, and basically what he did is he quadrupled his position in GEO. GEO is the very famous prison stock that he started buying last time. Now we have the Form 13 out. This is why we're able to tell that he actually bought more stocks today. As a matter of fact, he has been buying a lot of private prison stocks. He has half his portfolio in prison stocks at the moment. And as we can see here, this is from the Burry Tracker, Twitter account that tracks Michael Burry buys. And we can see here that a lot of his positions are private prisons. Now we have to ask ourselves why? Why is he possibly doing that? And the only thing I can possibly think of that could be reasonable is that he might be worried about civil unrest as the midterm elections unfold. So we're already seeing a lot of the results of the midterm elections. We're gonna have presidential nominations soon, and we're gonna have this run all the way up till 2024 once the elections are done. So the only possible thing I can think of is that maybe Republicans will be unhappy and they would think that there's election fraud and there might be protests and civil unrest based on that, and vice versa. Of course, it could be that Trump runs and he wins, and the Democrats are not happy, and there could also be protests. So in either case, he could be predicting that due to politics, that basically, there will be a lot of civil unrest, protests, and of course, that will see private prisons have their revenues soar as people get imprisoned due to these things. This is the only thing I can think of. And of course, I'm very interested to hear what you think. So if you have an idea or a theory, please drop a link, drop a comment down below. And check the link down below also with our Discord. You can jump in here. We have a nice free little community where we discuss all these things. So make sure you check it out. That being said, let's jump here into the next one. Now we have here Scorpion Capital. Scorpion Capital should be releasing this out by the time I put out this video, but basically they are the infamous short fund, and they say they have an excellent short play here that basically is if Bernie Madoff and Elizabeth Holmes had a secret love child. So quite the claim here. So of course I'm going to keep an eye on this. They expect it to drop down a lot. They expect a lot of fraud and scam here from this place. So definitely worth checking out. 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 2 hours before the market open. So yeah, gonna be very, very important here to have a look and see what happens here. So the next one here we have is actually we've been seeing a lot of inflows in the SQQ. As a matter of fact, according to Carl here, that this has been a record amount, and the biggest and again, we've seen a huge rally in QQQ and all the tech stocks, pretty much the whole market the past couple of days after we got a very good CPI report. So we see a lot of people, as a matter of fact, $650 million going into the SQQ, which is a triple leveraged QQQ ETF that bets against a QQQ. So, of course, this could be a hedge play as most people were not hedged going into CPI. So we can see people hedging right now, or it could be people are expecting a temporary pullback in the markets. So it could be either or, it could be one of those two things. But an interesting and important tidbit of information here. So something you guys should keep in mind. Next piece of news here we have Warren Buffett increases his stake $5 billion now worth of TSMC. TSMC is Taiwan Semiconductors Manufacturing. It's a very, very popular semiconductor manufacturing plant, and this is huge news, of course. And we see here a huge surge in share prices of TSMC. Warren Buffett is a very, very popular investor, and when he gets into something, people listen. His last big play was Oxy, and we've seen what he was able to do in that. Now, would I buy TSMC? I would look for a pullback to get in. So again, keep an eye on my live trading on the stream that we do every day at when market opens, because I am thinking on in getting here, and I think there's a nice play to be done with TSMC and Geo as well. So keep an eye on the live stream. Second piece of news here is Apple is building its own metaverse. This is very, very huge news. At this point, it is rumors, still more than news, but we are seeing Apple go up. We've seen Apple shares go up pre-market around 1.2% at the time of this recording. So it's very, very important. Now, this, of course, could adversely affect the metaverse that is being built by Meta, or formerly Facebook. So this is very, very important news to keep an eye on. Apple is pretty much successful with everything they do. So Apple saying they're going to sink money into this is not nothing, right? It could be a huge moneymaker for Apple. And we all know that metaverse, as bad as it is right now, is still in its infancy. It could be a very, very big part of her life going on in the future. I personally believe AR, VR, all this stuff is going to be critical and important part of our lifetime. This will be the actual, in my opinion, the Web 3.0, the real one, right? So yeah, I would definitely keep an eye on this here, and I would keep an eye on Apple and Meta. There are a few plays that I have in mind. So again, keep an eye on the live stream as we see what we can take. Next piece of news here is from Morgan Stanley. So Morgan Stanley is pretty much saying, which I'm really starting to see right now as someone who has Tesla Leaps and shares, I'm starting to see this. You're basically investing in Twitter right now by buying Tesla shares. They're saying here that, you know, the sentiment from Twitter is directly affecting Tesla stock. And this is 100% true. Inadvertently, I bought into Twitter because I got in Tesla, and this is a lot. This is how a lot of people have been seeing this lately, right? So this is a big problem that needs to be resolved. They're saying here that Tesla might test 150, which is their bearish case, before the year ends. I would not be surprised if that happens, but in my opinion, that this is actually buying opportunity, because fundamentally Tesla has not changed. So all this stuff with Twitter will eventually calm down, will just go away, and what will remain are the fundamentals of Tesla, a company that very famously during this whole crash and during this whole recession, if you're one of the people who subscribe to that terminology, I do believe we are in a recession. It actually has been performing really well, right? Comparatively, relatively speaking, has been performing really well, right? Still growing, still increasing, right? So I think fundamentally it's still a good buy. I'll be using this opportunity to dollar average down in Tesla. I would not be betting against Tesla, because who knows when things might turn around. All it needs is for Elon Musk to come out and say, hey, I'm no longer selling, and you will see a very quick jump. So will not be shorting Tesla, thinking about adding some more, as a matter of fact, right? Now, next piece of news we have here is on the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, GBTC. Now, this is, of course, a very famous trust that basically holds Bitcoin. So you can invest in this trust and buy shares instead of directly buying Bitcoin. And we can see here, Greg Evans has noticed that it is trading at a 42% discount. That means that it is trading at a 42% discount to its actual value, right? So the company right now, let's say it's valued at X, and it has assets of Bitcoin. It is now trading at a 42% discrepancy. So this could be a possible value play here. As Bitcoin catches up, we can definitely see the price go back, or the discount go back to zero, or maybe even a little bit more, because this was the case when we were in a bullish crypto environment, right? But my recommendation here is I would wait until all this crypto madness just, subsides, until everything settles down. There is a lot of fear right now, but once that subsides, GPTC could possibly be a good value play until it catches up with its discounted price. So would I buy it now? I could take a starter, a very small amount, right? And I would buy very far out leaps if I would, or buy shares if possible. And again, it will be a starter position. So it's not a bad idea to get a starter position now in GBTC. If you're one of those people who expect, the crypto will survive what's going on right now and will start moving on later. And I'm one of those people. So I'll think about a play. Next year, we have Carl saying that we expect this. Goldman Sachs, of course, the famous investment bank, says we expect a significant decline in inflation next year, with core PCE falling from 5.1 right now all the way up to 2.9 by the end of next year, right? So we've covered this in the live stream yesterday. We already seen Morgan Stanley come out with similar statements. They also said that they expect inflation to go down to 2%, actually below 2% by December 2023. So we're seeing a lot of investment banks, a lot of analysts come out right now and say, after the last CPI report, come out and say that, hey, guys, we think by the end of next year, inflation will be over, right? And I do agree with them. I think, I have been very bullish before the CPI. I correctly predicted that it will be within the 7.7, 7.8 range. And again, we're seeing prices really come down hard for a lot of things, except, car prices and, except trend prices. And again, CPI uses a lagging metric here. So it will catch up because these also have been going down. So some prices are already deflating, not inflating. So I expect here that, yeah, I agree with them. We're going to see inflation subside down considerably going into the next year. All right. So for our next piece of news here, we have Bank of America, and they're saying that they are tactically bullish, whatever that means, and again on Chinese equities. So basically, they think that everything that's going on with the Chinese market right now, basically the COVID zero policy, the problems with real estate over there and their fiscal policy, they think all of that is about to turn around. Things are going to change, and you can definitely see that happening. Why? Because China is really hurting right now, and these are measures that they are taking that are hurting them, right? So they're kind of shooting their own self in the foot right now. Some of those measures were necessary, but of course there is a sort of a political aspect to it where they were just doing this to increase pressure on the US, right? So again, this is a very bullish indicator and a very bullish catalyst if it does happen, because we can see the US stock market rally really hard. As I said before, 60% of inflation is supply side, and a big part of that supply of those supply side issues is, of course, the supply chain issues originating from the COVID zero policy in China. So if that's no longer an issue, we see easing there or completely getting removed, and supply chains are, functioning back as normal, then of course we can see a very, very big, increase or rush in the U.S. stock market, not just the Chinese, as of course, inflation comes down even more, right? So next piece of news we have here is by Mr. Wales, and he is expecting here that MicroStrategy (MSTR) will get margin called if Bitcoin hits $13,500. Now, of course, this is his expectations. We don't know that to be true, but I would say definitely keep an eye on MSTR as a possible short as Bitcoin goes down. This is definitely something I would keep an eye on. They are heavily leveraged. This we do know, so it is very important for us to keep an eye on MSTR as a very possible short here. So next piece of news here is just an interesting tidbit. We see here that, of course, a lot of these companies that you see on the screen have been laying off people. We already know this news, but what Didi says here is that 120,000 layoffs in total just in Q4, and he compares that to the dot-com bubble where layoffs were 107,000. So of course, the expectations here, or the idea that he's saying is that this time is going to be much worse. I disagree. Of course, it's a very different environment. Things are not the same as they were in the early 2000s. I think it's a very, very different workplace. Company needs and expectations and workforce is very, very different to the early 2000s. So I don't think this is a good comparison, but an interesting one nonetheless. So I thought I should mention it here. Next, we have here Walter Bloomberg says that DAX rises 20% from September low and is about to enter a bullish market. Again, I think this is just an interesting observation, nothing more, because, yeah, everything has been going up in relation to the U.S. stock market. We know the U.S. stock market is going up, and pretty much every market in the world is going to go up with it, but still very interesting nonetheless, right? We have here Wall Street Silver saying that FedEx is about to lay off people starting next month. And of course, he's saying that, a recession is coming because of that. And the idea here is that if FedEx is laying people during Christmas period, then of course, this is the Q4 is very famously where shipping companies like Amazon, e-commerce companies make most of their money as people buy stuff, before Christmas. So I very much disagree with him here. Because this is an incomplete piece of news here. This is mostly fear mongering. Most of the people laid off are in the LTL section. So it's not really, it's not directly that they're laying off people during the Christmas period. And again, the piece of the news here that he's quoting says the end of next month, right? So basically, this is where Christmas is pretty much done. The majority of deliveries are before Christmas, not exactly during Christmas or after Christmas. So once the rush is done, they're gonna lay off people. This is again to be expected. I don't foresee anything bad per se here because of this. I think it's this is misinformation at best here, right? All right, so let's get now into a little bit of political news here and see what's going on with the market now that we've covered the market news. So next piece of news here we have is in relation to Biden. So Biden, of course, yesterday met with the Chinese president Xi Jinping, and he says that based on this meeting, he does not believe that there is any imminent attempt by China to invade Taiwan. While that might be true here, the keyword here is being imminent, right? So imminent does not mean not gonna happen. So just something to keep in mind here. But of course, for the short term, this is good news. And of course, we hope here that this never happens. We don't want the Taiwanese people to be hurting because of this. So yeah. Now, next piece of news here is still China related, and we can see here in this video that basically what's going on is there's a lot of protests in China. And this is because people have been very fed up with the very strict COVID-0 policies. People are starting to revolt against that. That might add pressure on the Chinese government to start lifting off or easing their COVID-0 policy, which is again very bullish for the markets. But yeah, we all went through COVID restrictions, and those were no fun for anyone. So really hope here that the people of China get what they're hoping for, right? So next piece of news here is that we have that the federal courts finally completely blocked the debt relief program that was the student debt relief program that was put out by Biden. Now we've already seen news of this before, but this is now finalized. And now we're seeing the federal court, the federal appeal court also block his attempts to bring it back, which I believe is going to be very bullish news here for the market. And the reason for that is, of course, the government was going to have to print a lot of money, which goes against what the Fed is doing to bring down inflation. Again, the Fed chairman himself, Jerome Powell, came out and said in the last FMOC meeting, he flat out said it when he was asked by a reporter, is, do you believe that the government relief programs and the stimulus that the California, for example, also have been doing is hurting your inflation efforts? And the most diplomatic answer he could say is yes, but we believe that we're going to bring down inflation anyway. It's not really hurting us as much. But I bet he really wanted to pull his hair at this point because, yes, of course, we got here because we printed a lot of money during COVID. Find out, you can agree or disagree with whether this was good or not, but we know now that this is a direct reason for that, and the government is still continuing to do that is not a good idea. Obviously, it goes against everything that the Fed is doing here. So, yeah, important piece of news here, right? Okay, so for our final politics piece of news here, we see here that Poland and Germany are going to seize, Gazprom assets. Now, Gazprom, for those of you who don't know, was the company responsible for, selling Russian oil to Europe. So Poland, of course, is one of them. Germany is another company, and basically they're saying they're going to seize their assets here. This is more of a symbolic gesture, if you will, more than it is anything of substance. Basically, these assets are kind of, not worthless, but they're worthless as far as gas and oil are concerned because they're not pumping anything anymore. So, but of course, this is not a good move because this kind of signals to Russia that, hey, this is more animosity, and we're not looking for peace yet or peace talks with you yet. So not a very good move, I would say. But yeah, it is what it is. All right. So next here on piece of drama here today is Elon Musk fires this Twitter employee. Now we've seen this Twitter employee who basically said that Elon Musk was wrong, and he said that he spent 6 years working on Android, and whatever Elon Musk is saying here is wrong about the poorly patched RPCs, right? So Elon Musk replies and asks him to correct him. The guy does not say anything, of substance, and he says, and then of course he says that again, like I agree with everyone here. Like this guy should have said this privately if he was not looking really for a lot of publicity, but he was, and yeah, Elon Musk pretty much fired him. So I don't know if this is good PR or bad PR that Elon Musk fires people publicly, but this is what happened. This is Elon being Elon here. So I'm just going to report on this. I'm not going to say anything bad about Elon because while I do respect Elon overall and I'm definitely a fan and I do like Tesla, I'm not very happy with everything that he's been doing here. We saw what Morgan Stanley said because of that. Basically, Tesla is becoming Twitter because of what Elon Musk is doing, and yeah, this is not really good. Right. So in crypto news here we have this video, and basically this video is a little bit of a long one here, so I'm just gonna summarize, but I'm gonna leave the link down below if you want to go in and watch it. This is posted by Tara Bull, so you can of course go in on her profile and see what she's talking about here. But basically this guy here says that, of course, you guys know Silvergate, the very infamous fund, that's basically a crypto bank. Their ticker symbol is SI, and everyone is saying here that they don't have KYC or AML in place, and they have been trading almost $1 million on basically $15 billion worth of assets. These are all giant red flags. A lot of people have started shorting Silvergate. I probably will be one of them. So if you want to know my play and take on this, join me again in the live stream where I will be greatly explaining into detail my possible play here, whether it will be a leap put or we're going to short it short term or what, right? So, all right. Moving on here, we have, of course, everyone's favorite hedge fund manager, Ken Griffin, and basically it was his take on the whole FTX situation. So we can see here on this Bloomberg conference, he brings up the point that again, FTX trading practices were very shady. He does not believe that this is the end of it. So I thought it was an interesting take here from Ken Griffin himself, the man who has the biggest market maker and simultaneously own one of the biggest hedge funds at the same time. Honestly, I would take his word here because like it takes one to know one, right? This is basically what brought down FTX, right? Sam front running his Alameda plays using his analytics from FTX. So yeah, it takes one to know one. I would trust Ken Griffin's word here, to be honest. But yeah, of course, this is all speculation. This is all my opinion. Don't sue me, bro. So, right. So we've covered this before. All right. So now we have here another tweet from Wall Street Silver, and we see here that crypto investors are pulling Bitcoin from exchanges at a rate of 106,000 Bitcoins per month, which is a near record amount. Of course, this makes sense. This is very much to be expected, and it is good. Like, if you have any money in any crypto exchange, whether you think it's going to fall or not, just put it in a cold wallet for the time being. You have nothing to lose. Get out your money, keep it safe. Hey, if your exchange is solid, it will be here, when things quiet down. If not, then you saved yourself some money, right? So that's not a bad thing to do, in my opinion. All right, so this is a very long tweet here from Deso Games. It's a very big Twitter thread. I'm gonna leave the link down below here because he goes into great detail into explaining Tether and its relationship with Bitfinex. Again, this is a very popular crypto exchange, and basically he comes to the conclusion, using very good proof here, that a lot of the movement recently in Tether was by and from Bitfinex, and again he questions as to why this is happening. He comes to the conclusion that Bitfinex is Tether's reserves, which is of course would be a huge bombshell if this is true. If this is the case here, this can again make the current crypto market situation much much worse if that happens, as we can possibly see Tether completely collapse, as people completely lose trust into it, and of course Bitfinex as well. So this is me just summarizing it, not doing it, giving it all the credit it deserves here. Definitely go check this guy out, Deso Games, and I'm gonna leave a link for this Twitter thread right here. A very interesting read. He provides a lot of proof for what he says, so it's worth at least like giving it a thought here, right? All right, so for our next piece here is a little bit piece of I don't know, I think it's a little bit funny, if you will, but this is a chart from Bank of America here, and it shows all the last like bubbles that we had, and we see here of course the ARC bubble, the FANG bubble, biotech, China, the housing market, tech, and of course in their all the respective years here, and we see how much they ran up and how much they got down, and of course we can see here Bitcoin in comparison, of course, is was huge jump and a huge drop, of course. So I just saw it was a very interesting visualization here, so I thought we should include it. All right, so another one here by Mr. Whale, and basically he says an unknown entity becomes largest Bitcoin whale in existence after accumulating $2.4 billion in BTC. This is just a mind-boggling, crazy amount. And of course, we see here someone asking for proof, and he does provide his wallet address. So this is just crazy that someone owns $2.4 billion. We do know the crypto wallets for the majority of the big whales. The Winklevi, Twist. Sorry, I'm sorry about that. The Winklevi twins, and all these people. We know Satoshi Nakamoto's, of course, address. We know a lot of the big whales, but this one just came out of nowhere. $2.4 billion. I wonder who that person is. And finally here, last piece of news for crypto, and just overall for today's video, we all of course saw Sam Bankman's very weird tweet yesterday, where he pretty much spells out what happened across like the whole day. So we see here Gurgevin coming to the conclusion that who else uses this, would be the CEO of Alameda, who left a few weeks ago, Sam Trabaco here, and he does provide proof here, all these tweets by him, where he says a lot, of course, what happened, question mark, what happened, question mark, what happened, question mark, over and over again. So it does seem to be something that he uses quite a lot. So could this be him implicating him? Because we saw Sam, again, like Gurgevin here mentions, tweeted that something ago about like a few days ago about a sparring partner, and more will be disclosed soon. So is this the sparring partner that he talks about? Is everything that's going on right now engineered by Sam? So we're gonna have to wait and find out. But that being said, this pretty much sums up all the news for the market today and what possible plays that we can take off them. I hope you guys enjoyed the new video. As you guys know, we're just starting out, so please give this video a like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Don't forget to check out our free Discord. I am there all the time. And don't forget also to check out the live stream that I'm going to do in an hour from now. Basically, I trade every day. I'm doing a 2K to 100K challenge. I'm at 10K right now. So challenge is going really well. I also put out a weekly watch list with all my plays for the next week ahead. So many reasons to subscribe. I hope I see you on the next one. Ash out.